Second Chronicles chapter 16, we're going to see some changes in Asa in this chapter. He's not quite as good of a king as he was previously. So this is unfortunately a little bit of a repeating pattern with these tribes of Judah and Israel, as some kings started good and then went bad, and we're going to see some problems for Asa here. Verse 1, in the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against king of it. Excuse me, there's should be a comma in there, but there isn't. In the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah and built Ramah to the intent that he might let none go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. So the king, Baasha, the king of Israel, basically went, we're losing people to Judah. We have to block this off, basically, where this isn't going to happen. So he wanted to basically block it up so they couldn't migrate to Judah. If you remember the last chapter, they lost quite a few people. Verse 2, then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of the Lord and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, there is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold. Go, break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. And Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ijon and Dan and Abel-maim and all the store cities of Naphtali. And it came to pass, when Baasha heard it, that he left off building of Ramah and let his work cease. So let's just pause there for a second. So Asa went to the king of Syria and said, hey, we used to have your father and my father, there used to be a league between us. I want you to break your league with Israel. Help us out. We're going to pay you. And so Syria came down and basically attacked Israel. And so that stopped the construction that Israel was working on, because they had to now divert their efforts to a war. And so that helped Asa, basically. So verse 4, when Ben-Hadad, I just read that one. Verse 6, then Asa the king took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah, and the timbers thereof, wherewith Baasha was building, and he built therewith Geba and Mizpah. And at the same time, Hanai the seer, so let me pause for just a minute before I get into that one. So Asa basically went out and took some of the supplies that Baasha had brought down for his wall and used them for their own construction. Now verse 7, at that time, Hanani, yes, the seer, came to Asa, king of Judah, and said unto him, because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on the Lord thy God, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because thou didst rely on the Lord, he delivered them into thine hand. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, and show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. So a prophet came and said, because you relied, rather than relying on God to help you, you relied on man to help out. You asked Syria to come bail you out rather than ask God to bail you out. And so because of that, you're going to end up with some wars and problems in your time. So verse 10, Asa was wroth with the seer and put him in a prison house, for he was in a rage with him because of this thing. And Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. Now, verse 10 is a very telling verse for us. So the prophet comes, gives Asa bad news, and what does Asa do? He throws him in jail, basically puts him in a prison house, gets rid of him. And apparently Asa has not been a benevolent king. He's oppressing some of the people in his kingdom as well. So Asa's had an attitude change. He is not the kind-hearted, loving, following the commandments type of a king anymore. He has changed in that. Could it be from old age? Could it be a chemical imbalance problem as he's aged? Maybe he's got lead poisoning inside or mercury poisoning from things. There's a lot of situations that could rise where maybe Asa has been affected by other things. And so that can cause issues in his thinking. Maybe he has just gotten so big-headed as a king that he's gotten prideful and has decided to do his own thing. We don't know for sure, but those are some possibilities of what could be happening with Asa. So he's not relying on the Lord as much. He's doing more of what he wants to do. So that could even lead to more of the ideas of the pridefulness of him being the king, thinking he is the end all be all. And that sometimes happens with people where they get into positions of leadership, they get into positions of wealth, they get into a situation where they can have tremendous influence on others, and it goes to their head. It's not uncommon in a monarchy for that to happen. We see it all the time with celebrities and other people, people that start humble and then they go really bad because they can't handle that kind of influence and the pressure and things, or they think of themselves too highly. Sometimes that happens, and this is what Asa is going through right now. So verse 13, and Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 41st year of his reign. And they buried him in his own sepulchres, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and divers kinds of spices prepared by the apothecary's art. And they made a very great burning for him. So they still, most people liked him. It sounds like they still did a good job of respecting him when he died, and they buried him and took care of him. So that's good. Again, I think most of his kingdom time as a king was good, but it sounds like he just had some problems there towards the end. Maybe he ended up with a little bit of dementia or something. We don't know exactly what, but there's something changed in Asa's life that changed his attitudes and perspectives, basically, that's happening there. Well, let's jump into chapter 17 next to see about the next king and what happens from there.